Hello, hi. So I'm just popping in to say that I filmed this a while ago and I've just gotten around to editing it. And editing it, I realized that I'm probably a little mean to this series. And I just want to say, you do not like people talking negatively about your favorite books and like it just hurts your feelings, or I understand. You just don't want that negativity in your life. This might not be the video for you. That said, if you really loved these books and I hated them, I'm sorry, they just weren't for me. That does not take away from your enjoyment of reading this series or your love for the series. People are allowed to love and hate different things, and while editing this, I'm just like, I'm so mean. And I know there's people out there who really love this series. Don't want to try to make you hate the series that you found a lot of enjoyment in, so if you love these series, I'm sorry. Maybe this isn't for you. If you did love this series and you find it fun to read negative reviews, like, continue watching. Or if you just like don't care that much about my opinions, continue watching. I don't want your feelings to get hurt. That's not the intention of this video. I just was sharing my honest opinions about the series. Hi, my name is Chloe, and today I'm going to be talking about some hyped up Bookstagram books and if they're actually worth reading or not. Originally this was going to be a vlog-like style where I would read the books and you would see that journey of me starting and finishing and then talk about the books. This first one of Bookstagram books that are overhyped, or are these books worth it kind of video, I thought I would go over some books I've already read because of Bookstagram, and then in future videos I will do that vlog-like style. So if you don't know what Bookstagram is, it's a book community on Instagram that posts about books and their love of books. And I have been on it since April 29th of 2015. Technically, I've had this Instagram longer than that. I was an Avatar The Last Airbender fan page before I became a Bookstagrammer, and honestly, I did post about books, but I didn't actually start taking like Bookstagram seriously until 2020. And when I say seriously, I'm still not that serious about it. Where was I going with this? I want you to be able to see the cat. Look how cute she is. So in the future, these videos are going to be more vlog-like style where I'm reading the book and then talking about the book as I read it. But because I've already read these, we're talking about 6 books today. I've already read these 6 books. I'm just going to give my opinion on them. You are on Bookstagram and follow people who love the romance books or dark romance or just contemporary romance, whatever. I'm sure you've heard of these books before. They're very hyped on Instagram. Very, very hyped. That's how I kind of found these series, and I only physically own one of them. The rest of them I had via audiobook or ebook. 5 of them are by the same author and 1 is not. I try to do 2 separate series and then like read all the series, and we'll talk about the first one. So this is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is described as a Disneyland CEO romance book. I love Disneyland. I love romance. Put them together, it sounds like a very fun time for me. I thought I was going to love this book. Everybody on Instagram loved this book. I didn't see like a single bad review about this book, and I was like, yes, I'm going to read it and I'm going to annotate it. I annotated it, I bought the physical edition, and I was like so ready to read this. I was reading it right before I went to Disneyland in August, I think. Rosie, I did not enjoy it. It's the first in the Dreamland Billionaires series, and I was so sure I was going to love this book. I got highlighters that matched the aesthetic of the book. I was so ready to love this book. This is number 1 in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I think it's a 3-book series. Basically, this is a fictional Disneyland called Dreamland, very similar to Disneyland, Disney World. There's a lot of references to Disney stuff in this book, but basically the guy who runs Dreamland is this old guy who has passed away, very like a Walt Disney sort of figure, and he leaves it to his 3 grandsons, but they have to complete a task before they can get their share of Dreamland. And so you follow one of the brothers in here who is trying to complete his task and get the rights to a third of Dreamland. Main character, his name is Rowan. Then our other main character is Zara, and she is an employee at Dreamland, and she's not like other girls. Yeah, I was really expecting to like this one. I'm a huge Disney fan, and I was reading everywhere from Bookstagram reviews. They're like, if you need to love Disney to love this book. If you really like Disney, you're really gonna like this book. This is for Disney adults who like romance. Like, all those kind of reviews were out there, and so I was like, yes, I am ready to read this, and I was so disappointed. Let's start with the things I liked. Things I liked in this book are the references to Disney. That's it. If you don't know anything about Disney, this might not make sense to you, but there was a reference to the suitcase in a dream, castle, the spooky castle ride, which was just the haunted mansion, and I loved that scene because I was like, oh yes, haunted mansion's my favorite ride. I'm so happy they're mentioning something about the haunted mansion in here. Salon, which was like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo Boutique. There was a lot of those kind of things in here that you see, and like they were talking about restaurants and rides and crowds, and it did well at making a fictional Disneyland. Anyways, that is all I liked in this book. I hated the characters. I hated the plot. Everything else in this was just awful. The main thing that bugged me though, and I think if this one thing could have been fixed, it might have been a 3-star, even with the awful characters, at least a 2, is if the writing was better. I am not a huge writing nerd. You just have to write in a way that's enjoyable to me and doesn't take me out of the series. I'm not super big on grammar errors. I don't care if you have a couple grammar errors. It's a book. It's thousands of words in here. It's gonna happen. But the writing in this book, I was trying to convince myself it wasn't that bad through a third of it, and finally when I got halfway through the book, you can just see my attitude change in my annotations being like, oh my god, this is just awful. Oh wait, one of the other things I really liked was the playlist that was included. So I actually turned on this playlist and listened to it, and I put a heart next to all the songs that I liked. And of course there was a Taylor Swift song on the playlist because it can't be a book playlist without a Taylor Swift song on it. So I did find a new favorite song from this playlist, and that was fun. Let's go back to the writing. There are so many times where I was physically cringing because of the writing in this. If I can show you, but my colors are coordinated. Blue are things I like, pink were things I love, green is I hate. There's a lot of green in this. I think there's only one pink moment that I was like, okay, that's kind of cute. I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but if there is a spoiler, I will put a warning on the screen. Written down some of the quotes. There was, of course, I let out the breath I didn't realize I was holding. I don't know why this bugged me so much. It really did, though. There's a lot of times, I've talked about this before, where there were just cringy lines that were meant to be funny and they weren't funny, and it had them laughing up to the ceiling with tears rolling down their eyes. Here's one. Tell that to my insurance company. We both laughed to the point of tears. I laid on the fake tears and he broke down quicker than a McDonald's ice cream machine. We laughed. If you read it, the whole bowling scene is very cringy to me. There's this point where the CEO, Rowan, and Zara are walking around Dreamland. They're waiting in line and Rowan cuts the line, and the people behind him that are customers are mad at him, and Rowan's like, chill, it's okay, I own the park. The customers behind them are like, oh yeah, and I'm Santa Claus. And then they Google him and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Who does what is this Hallmark movie? There were so many times where I'm like, people do not act like this. Every book, there's going to be some things that don't happen in the real world because it's fiction. People don't act like this. People don't act like this in most romance books. People don't act like this in the world. People just don't act like this. This is cringy Hallmark stuff, okay? And if you like Hallmark stuff, maybe you'll like this. The characters. I hate the characters. They were one-dimensional and bland, and their whole personality was, I'm tall, and I'm a CEO, and I can't love anybody. He's something. I did not like him. He had no redeeming qualities for me. People are obsessed with him, and I'm like, where? How? In every line where he's trying to be romantic or cute, and I'm like, that's just so toxic. That is such a red flag kind of thing to say. The girl, Zara, I liked her at first because she was a little bit quirky. And then I was just like, this is just the girl who isn't like other girls trope. This is just, oh, I'm special and I'm unique and I'm not like other girls. It was her whole personality. I got so irritated throughout the book at her. She just did stupid, clumsy things, and we're like, oh, my bad. Also, the actions that she does in this book are just so stupid, and I'm like, why are you doing that? I ended my review with, I feel cheated by all of you who said that this book was amazing, how much you love Rowan, and that's very true. There was potential here, and you guys all made me think that it was gonna be stunning and fabulous and fun and Disney-filled, and you lied to me. Bookstagram, you lied to me, and I feel betrayed. Look at that. The next series that I read is not one that I physically own, but I read it via audiobook. And honestly, I think if I didn't read it audiobook wise, I think I wouldn't have finished the series. This series is all over Instagram. I see, even still after I read the books, people make those little TikToks with the one-word quotes and like and it just makes you want to read them, right? Because everybody's obsessed with them. Everybody's talking about how good they are. Everybody's raving about them. These sound really good. Let me read them. This is the Twisted series by Anna Huang. Huang? I don't think I'm ever pronouncing her name right. The writing is better in this series. The writing is much better than what the fine print had. So thank God for that. But Twisted Love is the first one. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this series. It's a dark romance. There is 4 different couples. Each book is based on a different couple. Each book is based around a different couple, and they're all basically the same people, just rewritten. It's my hot take. Yes, I hated this series. Basically, what I've learned from this is I can't trust Bookstagram's romance recommendations, because they all are awful, other than Red, White, and Blue, which I liked. Twisted series is based around a friend group of 4 different girls. Each one has their own romance in each different book. I'm like, okay. The first book was my favorite. I rated the first one a 3-star, which is I enjoyed it. It was fun to read about. You have the protective guy who is kind of sketchy, and then you have her who is a photographer and is just graduating college and is my brother's best friend kind of trope. This one was the best out of all of them. And I think what made me really like it is the writing style is very addicting, and then the narrator, I adore this audiobook narrator. I've listened to stuff by her before, like when she did These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I really enjoy the narrator, and I enjoyed the writing style, but the plot and the characters are not great. I'm trying to figure out what I can say about this series, really. It's basically different people, same plot, but different trope. So you have the girl and the brother's best friend trope, and then you have the princess bodyguard, the enemies to lovers, the businessman trope, and it's basically just the same plot over and over and over again. If you're curious about my rating, I rated the first one 3 stars. I rated Twisted Games 2 stars, Twisted Hate 1 star, and Twisted Lies 2 stars. Twisted Hate really threw me off of it. Twisted Hate is the 3rd one, and I was actually really liking it up until about 80%. And then this weird painting plot started that had nothing to do with anything. It was just kind of thrown in there, and we've seen it throughout the other books, but it's just so stupid of a plot, and it comes back in the 4th one, and it's what is this stupid painting plot? Book 3, I was really liking book 3 because I liked the guy, because the guy in book 3 is the only guy that's different from the other 3 books. So Josh, I believe, is book 3, and Josh is different from the other 3 guys. All 3 other guys are the same exact character. They're huge and muscular and do whatever they want, and they will protect you, and they're just, that tropey kind of guy. And Josh was different. Of course, he was still huge and he would protect me, and but he was also sarcastic and funny, and I liked that kind of thing, but people still love him. And I'm after what he does in the ending of the 3rd book, I'm I can't stomach you are disgusting to me now. He does kind of this weird revenge. This is kind of spoilers, but also content warning if you ever plan on reading this. He does this kind of revenge, very borderline non-consensual. It's awful. It's awful to read. It made me feel sick, and I'm how are people still obsessed with him after he does this? It's just gross. He basically manipulates, and I don't know, because it's weird, because part of the people who love this book are no, it was consensual, it's fine, and then the other people are no, this is disgusting and wrong and a huge red flag. And so that's why I'm kind of should I say this? A huge red flag, and it's disgusting, and it makes me hate his whole character and I was starting to like him, and then you get to that 80-90%, and then he does this awful, very non-consensual, very manipulative thing to the main girl, and it's disgusting, and it's are you kidding me? Over a stupid painting? It's a stupid plot. So yeah, I was not a fan of this series, though it is addicting, and it kind of was a bit fun to read, and that's probably why the ratings are a little bit higher than the fine print. The writing was a lot better than the fine print, but this plot was so bad. I was just so thankful that I was finally done with the Twisted series. And then I joined a book club, and the first book they were going to read was going to be King of Wrath by Anna Huang. And I'm like, this is okay. I've seen this before too, and I saw it all over Bookstagram, and people were also obsessed with it. I was like, oh, it's the same author, this Twisted Lies, but it's a different series, so maybe I'll like it more, because I did like her writing style, and I'm like, they're new characters, and it's a new kind of series. Maybe I'll like this series more. Nope. Guess what? There's still twisted characters in the new series. I was told that this was going to be like a mafia romance. It is not. King of Wrath is in the same world as the Twisted. And I thought I was finally done. I'm not. I rated this book 1 star. If you're curious, it was really boring. It was like nothing was happening. It followed all the main plot points of every romance book ever. There was the same characters as every freaking romance book ever. The guy was the same as all the other guy characters she has written before. The girl was the same as like all the other girl characters she has written before. There was nothing unique. There was nothing really charming or interesting happening. It was just following the main plot points of a romance book with no other plot thrown in there. The stupid painting shows it's up again, and I'm like, I thought I was done with this series, and I was like so ready to give this author another chance. I'm like shaking the camera. I'm so mad because I'm moving. I was so ready to give this author another chance and be like, it's a different series with new characters. Maybe I'll really love it. I did not. My takeaway is all you romance readers on Bookstagram and TikTok are lying to me. What are these 6 books I read? What are they? These are probably the most hyped up romance books on Bookstagram, and they were all awful. Why? Just why? And I guess I could give it another shot with different authors. The main problem with this was the writing and the characters, and then the main problem with Anna Huang. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever read her books again. I'm pretty sure I can look at her next book and just be like, oh, I can guess what happens in that one. Because they're all just following the same plot with the same characters, just rewritten slightly or adding a different trope. And it's like, it's just so predictable, and if her plot points got better, I would probably be obsessed. Rewriting the same characters over and over again doesn't, like, I can get over that if the plot and the story is good enough, you know? And they just weren't. I'm sorry if you really love this series and I'm just tearing it apart. All this said, I don't think I can trust Bookstagram romance books, but if you have some Bookstagram books that you think are really hyped up and you think maybe I would like, let me know. I might do this again, but in a reading style vlog. The thing is I just don't see other romance books that are hyped up as much as this one and the Twisted series. Romance books in general are just far fun. Like, I'm not looking for like a really deep meaning in the book or, you know, a super, super intense plot, but some plot would be good. Some meaning would be good. Not the same plot over and over again. Now that I think about it, the first one in the Twisted might be the highest rated because it was the first book I read by her, and then all the other books after that just followed the same plot, and I was just like, what is this? It's just like the first one, but worse. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry this was just a big negative review video. I would have loved to love these romance books that are hyped up, and I would love to be on the hype up train for these books, but I just can't. I despised them. Tell me if you've read these and if you like these. No hate. If you like them, and that's fine. You enjoyed it. Unless you liked the Josh thing. Then I'm a little concerned. You're so cute. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if you loved either of these series and you felt very personally attacked by me not liking them. It's not a personal attack on you, it's just how I feel about the books. Reading itself is just a hobby, and if you enjoy it, there's no harm in that. Thank you so much for watching, and here's some cat content. My baby. She's still purring, though she wants down. What's going on, girl? You know how cute you are? You're so cute. That was inside my nose.